As a girl, your daughter can get pregnant, and that's something that's super scary.
It is
14,
scary,
15,
very,
16,
very.
17-year-old having a baby,
Yeah.
that's scary.
Yeah.
What's going on, guys? My name is Rango Lee.
And this is MyLien.
And welcome to the Blessed Boater Show.
Hello, Rango. How was your
going on?
weekend?
You know, it's been really hot. Seattle has a heat wave right now, and it's been really, really warm. 115. People are melting, but we're blessed because we have AC at home.
Oh, that's good. That's good because a lot of people were having like power outages.
Yeah, because they're using too much AC.
Too much. And then even Safeway, I was walking through Safeway and just trying to get milk. And I mean, the dairy products and all the stuff in the refrigerator, it's no good.
Oh, it went bad.
They can't. Well, the thing is, it was so hot and the refrigeration is not cold enough. And then now things are going bad. So I feel really bad for the grocery stores that have to throw away a lot of their perishables.
It's been so hot lately. Me and my brothers were talking about we need to buy a boat. So we're looking to go to buy a boat.
But then the thing is, you buy a boat, but you have to get into the water to cool down. So why does buying a boat?
Because then you can hop in the water from the boat.
Oh, okay.
Easy.
But you have a dock. You're at Richie's house, right? Don't you guys jump in?
Life is better on a boat.
Oh, okay.
And it gives you easy access to water.
That's true. That's true.
You go fishing.
That's true. That's true.
It's a good life. It's the blessed boater life to have a boat. That's why we need a boat.
No, I gotta admit, it's a lot more convenient. It's nice. It's nice
sure.
to have a boat when you need
You guys got a boat?
Yeah, we do, but it's nothing luxurious. It's a fishing boat. He's a fisher. He loves fishing, so it's his thing.
Your husband?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna be on a bikini and lay on his fishing boat. There's nowhere to really lay. It wouldn't look right. But the kids really enjoy it, though.
There you go.
I gotta say, it's nice.
It's a nice life.
It is.
All right.
So today's episode is going to be something fun. And also, I'm hoping we'll all learn from this. Rango and I, as we mentioned before, we are parents. Rango, you want to share with the audience a little bit about your family and
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about parenting, and it's really important out there to talk about being better parents and what we went through and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, growing up, I thought I had a normal childhood, I guess, when I was younger. Well, I remember the first half of my childhood, probably from 3 to 8 years old, I would see them still. They would, come home every night from work and would do the family thing. And then from probably 8 till 12, they opened the restaurant, and I never saw them again. So I don't. That was a hard time for me as a son, because I never got to see my parents at that time.
What was going through your mind?
I picked up a lot of bad habits because I had no supervision.
Yeah, we heard from the other episodes.
And so yeah, for sure. So growing up, I just remember my dad was very hands off. So if he had a style of like parenting, my dad would just be hands off. He would just do his thing. He'll be kind of around physically, but he wasn't talking to you, or he wasn't really encouraging you, but he wasn't like yelling at you and talking down on you or beating you or anything. He was just like a kind of a chill, really extra chill dad.
Yeah.
And then my mom, she was definitely the disciplinarian, the one that cared a lot, though. Took you to school and made sure you had the nice clothes on, and but always just disciplining. Always like, hey, don't do this. Hey, don't do this. Hey, remember this. And it was, after a while, it got very stressful because all she do is nag about stuff, right?
It becomes something like you're thinking like nagging.
Right, and after a while, you check out.
Yeah.
So
Aww.
That was kind of my experience of what my parents, their parenting styles.
Their parenting styles.
Yeah.
My parents were kind of the same. I feel like their generation might be the same, just because the way they were, I guess, like what they've experienced, and with boating and escaping Vietnam, and then my parents being the same thing. Their mentality is to, hustle, to make money, to, especially the dads, right? In our culture, the man has to, be the financial person or the person that made the money or whatever it may be to take care of the family. You got to be a man, right? And so my dad was kind of similar to your dad. He was very hands off, didn't change any diapers. My mom always talked about like he never changed any diapers at all. Like he doesn't even know how to feed bottle to a baby. All he did was work. Yes, all he did was work, but then we needed that. Someone had to always work too. But then my mom started working too, of course, to help support that. And we didn't see our parents as much either. They did what they can, during that time is you had to work, every dollar counts, right?
So your mom was the disciplinarian?
Yeah, I think she was. She seems like the disciplinarian because she yelled a lot and she taught us like, you can't do this, you can't do that, like your mom.
Who would hit though? Who?
Dude, both. But they hit differently though.
Oh, okay.
Women fight differently than men. Just remember that, right? So, and they were taught like in our culture, like back in Vietnam, when you do something wrong, you get hit, right? And so, you're not taught any different. And so when you experience that when you're younger, you kind of bring it on to, somehow thinking that, hey, that's what you do so that your children can learn what's right and wrong.
I just remember the hardest thing. My dad didn't hit us. He was very hands off. He didn't care. But man, when we did something wrong, my mom would tell me and John, go in the backyard, go pick your own stick.
Oh,
and you guys gonna and bring it back in, and we both lay down. And we would get like 10 or 20 hits in the back, and we get it hit on our leg, and they don't hit. We don't hit our kids like that these days.
It's different.
But I learned though. I definitely learned what right and wrong was from that.
For sure. Yeah. I think only up to a certain age, right? Because when you're young, I feel like that may be effective, right? Because to help teach them right and wrong, and say they tell you not to touch something hot, and you go and touch something hot, and then it burns you and it hurts real bad. It reminds you in your mind. And it tells you, hey, that's dangerous and it's hot and it will hurt you, so don't do it again. So kind of like the same mentality with our parents hitting us, right? We do something bad, they hit us. And then you're like, oh, I'm never going to do that again because I'm going to get punished and it's going to hurt real bad, right? It's that psychology. And I think with us, we know how it feels to get hit and it's not a good feeling. And we just
So did you get hit when you were little?
Yeah, I got hit the most.
Oh. Okay.
You think I wasn't a bad kid. I wasn't a bad kid, but then I just talked back a lot. So I got hit a lot because there's always like girls shouldn't talk back, right? We need to be respectful. Girls shouldn't talk back. I can't have a bad mouth on me. And then when you do, you get punished.
Got it.
And so, yeah. And so I did a lot of that.
Sounds good. So why is it important for you to talk about parenting today?
Well, for me, it's really important. It's because, besides what we learn through the books, experiences, what we experience, all the things that we experience having children, raising them, I believe, giving birth and having children is the easy part, but raising them is the tough part. And we all can learn from each other one way, one form. Not every single thing works for one person. And so I think by sharing is caring, right? We share our knowledge, take what you can, and grow from it. We want people to be better than us, right? I want the mistakes that I made that someone can grow and, not make the same mistakes, right? Just like if I can learn that from someone else, I want to avoid the mistakes if I can. And raising children is tough. It is so tough. And it's nice to have that support group and have people that you can share information with.
Okay, so you're doing this so other parents at home can learn and grow and have easier parenting time, easy
styles,
parenting time,
or
right?
like maybe do's and don'ts. When your kid acts up, what do you do? I mean, like culture comes into play. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, even with guys, I mean, your perspective of parenting must be so different than us women. But again, sometimes I feel like we don't stop to think and ask you guys like, how do you want to raise your children, right? I mean, have your wife ever asked you how you want to raise your children, or you just kind of follow what she asks?
We just wing it.
You just wing it?
We just wing it. We have never talked about, before we got married or before we had kids, like, what's your parenting style and this and that.
Like, how do you want to raise your children?
But one thing that she does bring up to me is that she said we have to stand as a unit. If I discipline them in this way, you just have to back me up, support them, then be on the same page with disciplining them and stuff like that. So that's something we do together. Is even though I might not believe it at the time. Like, why is she tripping over that little thing? But then if she's passionate about it, then I just got to support her in that. And then we talk about it later of, hey, this is, what my input is.
Has Wyatt, have he gotten in trouble and say your wife was disciplining him and then you did?
No,
were you with her?
No, I'm the same.
Does Wyatt ever come to you and thinking that you'll get the different
he's still
reaction?
too young.
Oh, he's
let's talk about how old our kids are right now.
Oh, yeah.
So I got 2 boys, Wyatt and Hunter. So Wyatt is 5. Amazing, cool dude. And Hunter, he just turned 2.
Aww.
And he's amazing. He's
That's
like
so
the
sweet.
life of the house right now because he's so cute, innocent. So, and how about your kids?
So mine is 6, turning 7. Oh man, he's something. He's spunky.
He looks like baby Bruce Lee.
Yeah, we get that a lot. But he's spunky, but he's a full energy, and I think his little brother it rubs off on his little brother too, that he has to be just as spunky and just as active and cool like his brother, right? Mm-hmm. So and Landon, he's sweet. He's 4 years old, but you can tell he lies. He tried to get away with things. You can kind of see the personalities. And you just see this is where parenting style comes into play, or parenting, or how to communicate with different personalities, right?
We should make them do like a personality test or something when they're little.
I want
they're
to.
Like a B, C, like a disc test or something.
No, seriously though, if you have that personality, if you do one of those quizzes, you know how to communicate better, because not everybody communicate the same way. And based on the personality, that's how they tell you that you should communicate effectively.
I think that's a good idea. I don't know how old would be a good age for Wyatt or my kids or your kids to do a personality test. Maybe like 8 or 9 years old, or 10
growing.
or something.
Yeah, they're still.
But then a lot of those personality tests are true where, there's some people are natural leaders. Some people are more laid back, and they like to just be, they're like more deeper
Passive,
thinkers, and what motivates somebody won't motivate someone else. Have you heard the book called The 5 Love Languages?
No.
Oh, it's really good. If those at home, if you guys ever can get a book or something, it's called The 5 Love Languages. But it's more for relationships, like a husband and wife, or girlfriend and boyfriend. And everyone has like 5 love languages that they gravitate towards. So one is like affectionate touching. So one is like, and then one is giving gifts, and one is giving service to somebody, like cleaning up the house or washing the dishes for somebody. And another one is
words
of affirmation. Did I say that one?
No,
okay.
You
well,
didn't.
anyways, there's 5.
Yeah.
So it's really, but it's true though, because like my love language is different than my wife's, right? So I like to have affectionate touching. Like
you're a touch.
I'm a touchy-feely guy, right?
Yeah.
But she doesn't like that at all. So she doesn't give it to me because she doesn't like it. But I got to remind her, like, that's my love language.
Yeah.
But she loves people doing stuff for her. So I will take her car to go get it washed or wash the clothes and stuff. She likes that stuff. But so it just talks to people. But I think that could work for kids too and stuff.
Yeah,
so
it can, because
find out what drives them and stuff.
Exactly. No, actually, no, it works for kids too, because like with Landon, super stubborn. So if you want something from him, you talk to him nicely and he'll do it. But if you keep on pushing his button, you keep on yelling him, you keep on whatever for punishing, it doesn't work on him because he's super stubborn. But then if you talk to him nicely and ask for what you want, easy. He's like, okay, I'll do it.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyways, let's go. We have an agenda, so we're gonna go kind of off topic, but but it was a good one. Love languages. That is very true.
Right.
And so, what is the most difficult for you as a parent regarding this whole parenting?
The most difficult thing about being a parent is the time that the kids need, that I didn't know how much time kids need, right? Of just watching movies with them or playing with them or answering their questions and reading a book to them. They need a lot of attention. And I didn't know that. I didn't know they needed that much attention because I was a very independent guy. I like to hang out with my buddies or, go on hikes or nature by myself. But kids, they need a lot of attention. So for me, just making time for them and then work and then myself, it's something that I need to do a better job at, just more quality time with them. Instead of like going home and then I'm watching the game and then Wyatt wants to play dinosaurs, but I want to watch the game, and so
Yeah.
that's probably a challenge for me. How about you?
Same thing, balancing the time, right? Before when I was staying at home with the kids, then it was all about them. But then, now that, in the last couple of years, 5 years here, I've been, entrepreneur, that's how I met you. It's been hard to balance my time. And like you said, it's not about like how much time you spend with the kids. It's the quality of time you spend with the kids. So you can have your body there. Like I tell my husband this all the time, you can be there with them all day. But how you spend it with them is different. You can be on your phone, lay there on the couch. Don't expect that as just, spending time with them, because that's your body's just there. But then you're not actually physically doing something with them or engaging with them.
Yeah.
So it's the quality really matters, even though I don't have that much time. But then the time that I do spend with them, I try to make it very, very quality.
Yeah, that makes sense. And for guys, we're kind of lucky in the sense that we didn't have to give birth. Women have to give birth. So I don't know if it's a problem for you, but I know a lot of women after they have kids, especially multiple kids, you get kind of a little bit bigger, and it's hard to lose that weight, or you kind of let yourself go and you get the mom haircut or something.
I did the mom haircut. I chopped it all off. You know why, right? We were losing hair. Every single time we give birth, our body deteriorates.
Right. So was that difficult for you, for all those changes as a woman?
Oh, yeah. Like I was telling in the last episode on mental health that I went through postpartum.
Postpartum depression.
Yeah, postpartum depression. And, it's hard. And being like the person that I felt like it can't happen. It can't happen to me, It happened. Oh, my gosh. It was really hard. Image-wise and just like everything changes.
Well, I guess for a guy, what we deal with also different than you women. Guys, we used to be an equal to the wife. Like we would, be romantic. We get to do stuff. But then now we get no attention. The kids come, like the guy, honestly, I feel like sometimes just in the back burner, like a plan B, because she has to take care of the kids. So I feel a little bit neglected sometimes. And so as a guy, I think that's something that I have to deal with. It's not about just me anymore and the wife. It's about the kid first. And then the husband gets the leftovers,
No. Let me correct you. So someone once told me, and I think this is something that's always I'm trying to get better at myself. And I understand where you're coming from too, because my husband might feel like that. And I'm trying to get better at this. In order to be healthy, you have to make sure that you nourish and make all relationships healthy. You're not only a mom, but you're also a wife, right? If you want to keep your family healthy and everything healthy, then you also have to nourish your wife's side, not just your mother's side. So you have to find balance, right, in order to be overall healthy. So.
Yeah, when we interviewed Betty J. Eady, when she was counseling a lot of people, she said, women, and men, but women, like don't let yourself go. You know what I mean? Because, us as men, we're visual people. We love, nice things, and we like our girl to look pretty and sexy, and even if she's smaller or bigger, we should still want that.
They lie.
No,
They're like, no, you're fine, honey, and you're like, no.
At least make an effort, because I know I make an effort still to try to continue, looking as good as I can to continue having my wife be attracted to me.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
Or is it for other people?
No, I do it for myself, and I do it for her, right? Okay, I want her to still be attracted to me. But sometimes, as some women, they let themselves go out so far out, let themselves go. And, that's something to, you have to make time for that.
I agree. I let myself go a lot. If I didn't work, then I wouldn't try. And to be honest, because there's so many things to do, this and that. I should say that I want to look good for my husband too, but I think because he doesn't expect it from me, or he doesn't say like, I like it when you dress up, or, oh, you look nice today, that he doesn't care. He just thinks I'm beautiful whether I'm not looking my greatest, So I don't even try, because I was like, oh, he just, he loves me for me and not what I look like, So, but it's nice to hear from you that, reminder that, hey, you do want to look good for your husband too.
So remember that. All the girls at home, all the ladies at home listening, don't let yourself go.
Yes.
Because men are visual. They gotta, you know what I mean?
Yes, they do. I gotta admit, and I gotta say, like, I I love my husband, but then it'd be nice to see him kind of groomed up and, look good too.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah, it's two-way street. So when I think about it now, like I accept him, I love him. Yeah, I already know. But now we talk about it like, oh yeah, actually I would like to.
Right. So yeah, our brothers at home or in their car listening, don't let yourself go too much either, bro. Make sure you stay nice and hygiened up. Nice sharp haircut sometimes. Yeah. Maybe do a couple extra sit-ups these days.
Lift some weights.
Lift some weights or something. All right. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's okay. Yeah.
All right. Let's get into the next question. What was the hardest thing we and our siblings put our parents through and why we think we made those decisions? So you go first. What was the hardest thing you think you put your parents through growing up? And why did you make those decisions?
For me, I just like to go out a lot. Yeah. But I didn't do bad things though. The thing is we're young and our parents don't trust us, right? And the decisions that we're making. But then for me, I felt like I was very mature in the mind, though I like to go out and have fun and hang out with my friends.
Parties, like go clubbing and stuff? You mean that kind of going out?
The thing is they never knew I clubbed.
But you barely drink though, right?
I don't need to drink to have fun. Okay, so that's the thing.
So just going out.
Just going out, being with people. I mean, I like being with people and good people and friends. And I like to go out because I didn't get to go out, right? Because I felt like I was in prison all the time because I had to go home. So I found other ways to make time to hang out. So there's where it goes with balance, like how my parents are like always telling me to stay home. I didn't have any free time or I didn't have any friend time. So I made time during school. So that's when I skipped out in school a lot. I just came for the tests and passed my class or, did good and get my A's and B's or whatever I needed to do to pass. But I made time to go out because they didn't allow me time to go out. So parents out there, telling your kids to go home all the time. Don't give them all the balance. Don't let them hang out with their friends and this and that. Everything's about balance, right? So they feel fulfilled in all areas of their life.
Yeah, they need a little bit of freedom, especially teenagers.
Yeah.
If you don't.
But too much is not good either.
Too much isn't good either. But a little bit is healthy, right?
So I think that's where they struggle a lot, is always tracking me down where I'm at. So they gave me a cell phone because they said, I need to know where you're at because you're always lying about where you're at or wherever it may be, right? So give me a cell phone. And then they gave me a car because I always said, hey, my friend, I had to wait for my friend. She can't just drive me home. So, but all those things is like,
Well, you're the oldest child, right?
Yeah.
How many siblings are there?
4 total.
4 total. Okay, and you're the oldest.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. So, And you?
Man, where do I start on where do I start on what did I put my parents through? I think the hardest thing that I put my parents through was when we lived in Cedarville. Right, yeah. Housing projects, getting caught stealing cars, getting caught, doing crimes and going to juvenile hall, and going through the court system. I know that killed my mom. That really hurt her a lot. So I think that was really hard. And skipping school, I went to like 4 different high schools. Yeah. Because I kept on getting kicked out of high school, and that was really stressful for my mom. Yeah. Because all she told us our whole life was, go to school. If you can do anything, just try to go to school, finish high school, go get a college degree so you can take care of you and your family. And I didn't do that. So that was very stressful for my mom. I think that was, and same thing as my siblings. Well, half my siblings went to school and did a good college route, and then the other half of my siblings, they were, we were in and out of school, get kicked out and stuff like that. So that was hard.
What do you think that with our parents, what could they have done differently?
I don't know.
I mean, you turned out great, by the way. So
I'm blessed. If they would have had more money when we grew up, we wouldn't have dealt with both of them having to work all the time. And then my dad's, when he's home from work, he's so tired he just sleeps. Yeah. And then my mom, since we didn't have so much money, she was always stressed out about money and penny pinching, right? She wouldn't buy me and my brother new clothes or shoes or video games. So what we had to do was go steal that stuff or go hustle somebody else. And it wasn't their fault they didn't have enough money, right? Yeah. We just immigrated from Vietnam. They wasn't educated. And so money would have gave, I think, more good options for my family so we could not be so stressed out all the time. Can't turn back time now. Can't turn back. You guys, bless us all with a couple million.
Well, they raised great kids, and so you guys did their best. They did their best with what the situation was, And again, with all our parents, I know we talk about all the things that they did, and what we could change and do better. But again, at that moment, that was the best that they could do for us, right? So we cannot judge,
No.
you know,
I wouldn't change
anyone
a thing about it.
or any parent. Because when you think about it, every single parent do the best that they can with what is given at that moment in time.
Right.
Right.
They was dealt a hand, you know, like I'm a big poker player, so I enjoy that. Like you're dealt a poker hand, and they couldn't go ask for a new hand.
Yeah.
They had to play the hand they were dealt, and they played it the best they can.
Yeah.
Like we all turn out, me and my siblings all turn out great.
Yeah.
You and your siblings all turn out great.
Yeah.
With the odds crazy against us, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I wonder if I could do a good of a job if I had to live the life they lived,
Yeah.
you know, at that time with 6 kids and just getting to America.
Yeah.
Like, man, no wonder like my dad was stressed out all the time and just working like 2 jobs just to try to get ahead. And yeah, I don't know. I would hope so because I love my kids so much. But you know, you never know until you put in that situation. And yeah, they did the best they can, and you know, I love them forever for that.
So now that you're a dad yourself, I mean, have you and the boys, and have you guys even been through anything that you would say that it's been tough and you have to figure out a way to kind of deal with attitudes, or if they're going through something? I know a lot of parents go through, like, kids with depression, anxiety, you know, mental illnesses, kids with allergies. I mean, there's tons and tons of parents out there that deals with all sorts of topics and things and situations.
Well, our kids are 5 and 2, so they're not doing teenage bad stuff, right? But I think the extent of him is he's watching stuff on YouTube, and you know, he loves Roblox right now. Wyatt, the older kid, 5 years old. And sometimes I'll see him turn away the screen, and I'm hearing like some kind of evil music. So I'll be like, "Hey, let me see that screen." And he's watching like Roblox Piggy with like a knife, like trying to chase down other, and they're like stabbing the other Roblox members. I'm like, "Hey, you know you're not supposed to watch that."
Yeah.
He goes, "Sorry, Daddy." I'm like, "Give me that," you know.
He's
and I'll
such an
turn something
angel. You're so lucky. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He's 5. So Rain is not too far. I mean, like, Rain's what, a year and a half older? Maybe he's turning 7, so maybe 2 years. Yeah. So maybe Rain is a little older. And Landon too.
What have Rain or Landon done where you're like, wow, that's pretty crazy that they did that?
You know, besides like little kids lying, they do lie, you know, because they don't want to get in trouble. You catch them. I know my kids. So when they lie, I know them. So to all the kids out there, your parents know when you're lying, they give you chances to tell the truth and make it right. Okay, just remember that, because your mom and dad will know. Anyway, so I'm gonna tell you the story, and this kind of reminds us all to be careful with our words. Okay, so my son went to, you know, one of our friends' house and stuff like that, and he saw some money on the table. I mean, it wasn't his money. So I was doing his laundry, and I found money in his pants, like a $20 bill. And you know, my kids don't know the value of money. They don't buy anything. You know, I mean, they don't even know what money is for, just to buy things, but they don't physically buy anything. So I know it's not his money. So I was like, "Hey, honey, you know, why is this money in your pocket?" And he was like, You know, he kind of shrugged it off. I was like, "No, I didn't give you this money. So where did you get the money from?" And, you know, it took some time for him to warm up and kind of tell me. And he was like, you know, I took the money from Auntie and Uncle's house. I'm like, "Well, why would you take it from their house? You know, that's called stealing when you don't have permission. Did you ask them?" Like, "No." And he was kind of shy about it. I was like, "No, I didn't ask." I was like, "You know, if you don't ask somebody and they don't give it to you, it's called stealing." So this was our first incident about stealing, okay? And I said, "Why would you do such a thing, honey? I want to understand why you thought that it was okay to take something out of somebody's house and put it in your pocket and bring it home." So he said, "Mom, I just want to give you dollars. You know, I want to get you dollars." And I was like, "Honey, why would you want to get me dollars? I have money. You know, why would you ever want to take other people's money and give it to me? If anything, we donate to other people. I don't need the money. What makes you think that you need to steal to give me money?" And he said, "Well, you always say you don't ever have money." Well, and then I reflected back and thought about all the times I said, "No, honey, I don't have money, and we can't buy that. You know, I don't have money." It's not that I didn't have money. It was just I was very lazy with my words, and I didn't want to explain why I didn't want to buy it. The easiest thing was saying, "I don't have money, honey. You know, we don't have money to buy that. It's too expensive." That was like the easiest thing, right? To not to say to a kid when you don't want to buy them something, or you know, because you don't want to spoil them, right? So I reflected on myself and what I said to him, because kids literally take your words to the T. So I try to change myself about saying, like, you know, I don't have money now, because I do have money. I don't want to use my money to buy certain things, right? It's a choice.
That's a really good point, is choose our words more intelligent, because, you know, words have power, affirmation, they say. So instead of saying, hey, we don't have money, just saying, we have to be more smart about what we spend our money on. You know what I mean? Because then now you come from a place of having money, but we just have to be smart. Then I don't have money. We can't buy that because mom and dad don't have money.
Yeah.
And it kind of instills in them and in you that you guys don't have money. And that's what the universe gives you, right?
Yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have said that. I was like, oh my gosh, honey, I'm gonna let you know, it's not that we don't have money, it's that we shouldn't use our money on certain things that we don't really need, right? Yes, I know you want it. I'm gonna work on saying that I do need money, so don't steal for mommy. Don't steal from mom, okay? Mom don't need it. So now he's understanding. But if I didn't sit down for that good 5-10 minutes, kind of squeeze it out of him to why he did it instead of like punishing him for doing it. Because my natural reaction is like, oh, you did something bad, I'm gonna punish you, right? For some reason that moment I was like, hey, I want to understand why he did it, you know?
Right.
And so that's where I started changing how I was saying things and what I was doing. So, you know, parents out there, really be careful with your words. They're very powerful. They really take it literally. Right. And also your actions too. Remember, practice what you preach, right? If you tell them not to do something, you shouldn't be doing either if it's bad.
Right. Yeah. And that's a good point, because especially as young boys, people tell you don't cry, don't share emotions, suck it up. And I think it's a good point that you say it's okay. You know, tell me, explain why you did it instead of just getting beat up now.
Yeah.
Explain why, so they could share with you why, or why they were scared and why they did something. And then that creates healthy mental boys growing up to men than saying, you know, just go pick your stick. I'm hitting you right now for stealing that money, right? Because we didn't get to the root of it all. So that's a really good point.
Yeah. It's funny how you said, you know, guys shouldn't cry. Guys shouldn't cry. In school right now, they're teaching to show feelings. Guys or girls, you know, show your feelings. Talk about your feelings. Right. Don't just keep it all in, you know.
Or you're going to blow up one day.
Or you're going to blow up. But again, like, you know, it's funny because my mom did the same thing to Rain, because Rain was crying about something. And my mom was like, you know, stop crying. You know, girls cry. You know, boys don't cry. And Rain looked at Grandma and went, Grandma, why can't I cry? You know, he's like, I'm a human being. So I was like, oh my gosh, my son.
That's true.
And I looked at Grandma. I was like, he's right. Like, he's right. Like, I was just shaking my head. And she started laughing because she's, you know what? You're right. You know, it's okay. But tell me why you're crying, honey. Why? So we can find a way to make it better. Right? So, you know, our parents... Well, you know, still have that mentality, but then they're learning too. The grandparents are learning too, but you have to remind them.
Right. It reminds me of this documentary, and it was called Absence, like absent from school, absence.
Yeah.
And it was about men that are in prison. It's like, so they did all these tests of why all these men are in prison, right? And what's the root cause? And then they did a test on all these women that are like strippers or hookers and struggling. What's the common cause, right? So for men, they found out it's because there was no male role model at home. Oh. So then so these men growing up, they didn't know how to control their anger. So men supposed to discipline their sons. Like, hey, you know, it's okay to get angry, but use it in a constructive way, or tell me how you feel. And if they don't
in a healthier way.
Yeah, in healthier ways. But if they don't express how they feel, then they get really angry, right? Then they act out. Or they never become men. Like, they never become responsible. You know, I hear stories of some men, they leave their kids because things get hard, and I can't even comprehend leaving my kids, because somehow in that young boy life, you know, there was no men there that said, hey, you're 18 now, or you're 21, you're a man. So now you got to be responsible for your family, your siblings, your younger ones, and no one was there for them. So then they had anger problems, and they had responsibility problems, right? So that's all the men. And for the girls, why they were hookers or strippers or single moms,
single moms, yeah,
is because there was same thing. There was no men at home. So now,
that's interesting, huh?
yeah, because
father figure.
the father figure would say, "Baby, you're special. You're like a diamond. You know, you're beautiful. Don't
You're worthy.
You're worthy. You know, so." You know, go pick a man like that, or go have a good life. But if they don't have that men in their life to say, "Baby, you're special," you know, you deserve a really good man, then they go find it in bad men. You know, for that dad love that only a dad can give the daughter. So they go find
bad men though.
Because bad men.
But good men are, you know.
Because they don't want the good men, because they didn't have a good man in their life. So they gravitate towards what they got, right? What their mom got, which was that. So it's a really interesting that we're talking about this, because
sounds like a vicious cycle.
It is. So we got to break that. Men, stay home.
And even, you know, that brings actually another topic, you know, about like divorces, you know, and it's the rates of divorces is actually getting higher and higher and higher as we growing older and years pass by. You know, I remember with my parents' generation, divorce wasn't even a thing. Like, you don't even talk about it. You ride it out with your wife through thick and thin, to death to us part. You make it work, right? That was not an option, divorce. And now it's just like almost, okay, you know, let's get a divorce.
50% right now in America.
It's like way too easy. I mean, I think the court's making it a little bit more difficult now. Just going through, like, I think you have to go through some kind of counseling and stuff to try to make it work. But again, it's just way too easy now. You know, people just give up so easy.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a whole.
Well, I'm just saying, with
topic.
children though, when you think about divorces and children, when you have children involved, like, how do you feel like those kids are dealing with it, and how would you say? Well, what would you think that would help them through it without having a father figure? Because you're saying that hey, they don't have a father figure.
So let's just say if a couple doesn't make it together, they're divorced. That's fine. The son and daughter are still gonna be okay as long as the dad is still in their life, right? But I'm talking about dads that are not in their lives, and a lot of it is the criminal justice system, right? Like they're throwing away people in there for drugs. A lot of them for drugs when you know they have to make a living, and so they're breaking up families because of that, or those reasons, you know, or just the man's a deadbeat and he leaves the family for whatever reason. But so they were saying that was kind of the root cause for men and women to suffer when they get older because of that. And so people have to break the chain, you know.
So even if you're divorced, you know, that father there, being in your children's lives is super, super important. You don't think you're important, you're actually extremely important. You know, I mean, you talked about feeling like you're in the back burner, but no, you know, you're not always in the back burner.
Well, they say, like, a lot of cultures, there's a rite of passage where, you know, 18, 19, 20, they say, boy, you're a man now. Your uncle's going to give you this ritual now, like you're a man. So so then now that little boy's like, oh, okay, I'm a man now. I'm responsible. So I know for my two sons and my nephews, when they turn about 20, we're going to have like a little ritual for them. Say, hey, you're a man now. We're going to go in the woods, just a man. We're going to shoot some guns. We're going to build a fire. And your uncles are going to be like, hey, now you guys are men. Now there's this responsibility that you have to take being a man, right? And take care of people around you and always help people out. But do your best to be responsible, right? So
celebrate the milestone, huh?
Kind of like, I know ritual. In the Mexican culture, they have this, like, when a girl turns 16 or something.
Yeah,
they have this like special party where now she's a woman or something.
It's huge. Oh man, I forgot the term.
I forgot the word too. So.
And they even have shows about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Or I know in the Jewish culture, they have a rite of passage for someone young, 14, 15, 16 or something, bar mitzvah or something.
Oh, bar mitzvah. Yeah.
Something where now they pass something. Now they're like responsible adults, kind of, or like they're not kids no more or something. Oh. Well, I don't know.
But well, that's what I'm cool. Saying. Yeah, we should definitely celebrate all those milestones when you become an adult.
For sure. Yeah. All right, so let's go into the next one. So our kids are still young, but what are we going to do when they start becoming teenagers to help them avoid bad influence friends?
Oh, man, that's going to be hard.
That's going to be a hard one.
Oh, man, let me think about this one. Well, I'm going to keep them busy. Okay. You know, my goal is not to work so much, you know, and still be able to maintain some kind of financial freedom, right? That's why I'm working so hard right now. So hopefully I can keep them busy, get them active. You know, I think being involved in school, being involved in sports, less of that social media, you know what I mean? So I just want them to be more involved in just in life in general, and I think with them not having so much time to be free, they won't be free to, wander or like hang out with too many people who are, I guess, bad influenced, right?
Right. That's a good point. Keep them busy. But also remember where we got to give them a little bit of freedom too, right? They're teens. Like you growing up, you didn't have too much freedom.
I didn't play sports. Like these are activities. It's fun too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm more of okay, so how I would deal with it if my kids start becoming teenagers, I want to give them freedom because I learned a lot from a lot of my mistakes growing up. So what I wouldn't want to do anymore, when I burned my own hand, I knew that was hot, so I don't want to do it again. But if you don't let these kids burn their hands they're like 25 and now they're burning their hand, they're not going to know what to do. Like, so
that's
start
true.
freaking out.
That's true.
So I think life experience at a young age is important, but there's some friends out there that are really bad influences. So, they could get your kids into drugs, gangs, crime, maybe, sex at a young age or something. So let
me ask you, how would you?
That's a hard one because I don't have teenagers now.
Well, think of it as a teenager. Like your kids are going to be there. What would you do?
I feel like I can spot a bad kid. For some reason, because I used to be a bad kid, so I know how to spot a bad kid.
Yeah.
But I think I'll be lying to myself if I can, because kids, when they come over, they're like, "Hello, Mr. Lee, how you doing today?" I just did my homework, so can Wyatt go
to my
house and hang out, right? And I'm like, yeah, okay, go ahead, right? Yeah. And I don't know, but I don't know. Maybe I could start seeing his habits, like my kids, they'll start telling lies or like kind of being more secretive or like maybe sleeping in more because they just smoke some marijuana or something they shouldn't. So kind of keep an eye on those little behaviors. And when things are a little off, call them out on it. Say, hey, is there something like this going on? And then kind of see when that other kid came into the picture. And then put the two together that maybe that kid is influencing our kid to do something bad and say, you can't hang out with them no more or these things will happen if you do.
But what if your parents said, hey, Rango, you can't play with that kid. Are you going to listen to your parents?
As a teenager, but you got to try.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to try it. I would say, I don't want that person coming around. If I hear that you're hanging out with that kid again, I'm going to take away your car. Yeah. I'm going to take away your phone because I know those kind of kids, what can happen. Like you make one mistake and you can never come back. Yep. You can die from that one. You can kill someone else from that one mistake.
Yeah, all we can do is just educate our kids, right? And hopefully, that's my fear is, that drugs and bad influences, right? That can get you in the dark, like really dark. And I think that's where, man, you just have to.
Well, we would hope that we equip them for those times, right? As even now until our kids turn into 12, 13, 14 years old, you could share some of the information like, okay, if you're 9 or 10, if you do drugs, these are the things that can happen. If you have sex early, if I have a daughter, these are the things that can happen. If you commit a crime, these are the things that happen, right? So it kind of equipped them with, it's going to be fun for a second, but these are their consequences. And are you ready for that? And if you're not, then don't make that decision.
I know.
Easier said than do, right?
Easier said than done. My kid come home with a baby. Oh my gosh, you're still a baby.
You said if your kid came home with a baby?
Yeah, if he came
let's talk about that.
My gosh, I don't know what I would do. I would just flip.
Let's segue into kids and sex.
Yeah.
Right? In the Christian religion, they say you shouldn't have sex until you're married.
Correct.
Now that's
oh God, please change your laws.
That was 200 years ago. In this day and age, most kids are having sex a little earlier, right?
Yeah, a lot earlier.
So
let's not lie.
What would you tell your sons about that? How can we help them navigate it in a healthy way?
Well, first of all, I'm going to scare the shit out of them.
I'm
kidding.
Did you just cuss?
Yes, I did because I'm just kidding. No, I will definitely, my first reaction would be trying to scare them, like scare the shahibis out of everything. Like, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have a baby. You're going to
catch a disease,
catch a disease. AIDS. You're going to have AIDS. There's a lot of things you can't reverse. You won't have time for yourself. You'll be working all the time to, take care of this baby and the wife. You need to step up and take your responsibilities. I mean, literally, I would scare him to death, and make sure that it's well known, because you know what it is? It's true. I mean, that's what we do. We sacrifice everything in our world, time, sleep, to raise these wonderful beings, and if he's going to be ready to be a dad, then he better stand up and be a dad,
So are you saying you would?
I'm not going to support it, but
you wouldn't support. Okay, when
having a baby early, but if he does, then I'll support him.
Of course, not having a baby early. But how do you? Okay, if they say, "Hey, mom, when's a good age for me to have sex if I wanted to have sex?" What would you tell him? He's probably not going to ask you, but you should probably start already talking about it.
Well, I'm not going to talk about it right now, because I feel like kids are getting introduced to sex way too early. Like, for example, you don't know, like when back in the day, when you were 6, 7, 8, and you were playing, or 5, you were playing with dirt, and you're playing with worms, playing with rocks. You don't know things until you're introduced to them, right? When you introduce it to them, then their mind opens a little bit more. They get more curious. I don't feel like you need to introduce them. They're still so young. There's so much for them to learn. Why learn that first? Learn other fundamentals and other things first before learning something like that.
I respect that.
You know what I mean? Well, it's just way too young.
Okay, let's say my boys, when they turn around, probably teenagers.
Yeah.
Like, 13 to 12, I might start talking to them about it and
11,
how it kind of works.
Yeah.
Like how it works and the pros and cons of it. And equip them a little bit. Maybe, I lost mine at 15.
That's pretty old.
I thought that was
back
young.
then it's actually young. Actually,
15?
Back then it's young. Now it's,
Kids are losing at younger?
Yes.
Okay,
10
but not
in elementary school right now. It's insane. Oh my gosh.
But most kids aren't though. Most kids are losing it 15, 16, 17. I think 17 or 18 these days is when they're losing it.
I think
their
13,
virginity.
Around 13. In middle school.
What kids are you hanging out with?
I'm hearing nieces and nephews talk about it.
13?
Yeah, in middle school. Let's get real here.
You got some sexually active nieces and nephews.
No, they are, man.
Well, I heard about kids losing it in middle school when I was in middle school, but that was rare.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
for my
now.
Circle, they didn't lose it until about junior or senior year. Some of them. Not even most of them, but some of them.
But now it's a lot younger.
I just want to equip them.
Yeah.
I remember I don't even know who told me. No one ever told me. My brother never even told me. My mom and dad definitely didn't tell me. I don't know who told me, but I was like, when I was starting to get ready for it, I was like, use a condom because I don't want to get AIDS and I want to get a girl pregnant. Those, and somehow, I don't know, somewhere along the way, it just instilled in me. So I was always very safe about it. So I would tell my son, like, be safe about it. If you're gonna do it, be safe about it and make sure you love her. That's all I'm gonna say. Make sure you love her. If you're gonna do it, make sure you love her. Then. But that's a touchy one.
It is very hard because it's my babies. I am the only woman in their life. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. But for real talk, yes, I would educate them. The pros and cons.
Yep.
If you're going to, wear a condom. There's STDs out there. I'm a dental hygienist. I've seen it in the mouth. I've seen it. There's different ways of being sexual, not just having sex. There's oral sex and there's other types of sex, and disease is everywhere and can happen anywhere. So, I think education and educating them to make the right choices when it comes down to it, right? Your child is an individual, and hopefully we'll be able to kind of just instill the education and help them make good choices.
Talking about this right now, kids and sex, I'm so glad I don't have a daughter. Hopefully next year I'll have a daughter and I could be nervous about that. But
but boys and girls, different stresses. Different stresses though.
Well, okay, as a boy, they can get someone pregnant, but as a girl, your daughter can get pregnant, and that's something that's super scary.
It is
14,
scary,
15, 16, 17-year-old having a baby. Yeah. That's scary as someone that has a daughter, right?
Yeah, it's very scary. I remember, my parents never talked about sex. Never. It was unheard of. And you were a virgin. I was, my parents, I was a virgin till I was married. And it's always been like that.
Wow.
And let's just keep it like that. No. I'm just saying they think, right?
Yeah.
And let's just keep it at that.
Well, I'm a little bit more progressive where I feel like, if two people love each other at 17 or 18 or 19 and they love each other, then, who am I to stop them? Because, that's
you're not going to be able to stop them.
And you can't stop them anyway.
You just have to find ways to protect them and educate them. There's
equip
no way to
them,
stop
right?
them.
Educate them.
Yeah. So I mean, we talked a lot about sex, but there's a lot more to just parenting and with teenagers and stuff besides sex. I mean, alcohol, drugs, those are things
Ooh.
that, man, you get deep, you can't get out, and
Yep.
it's very super dangerous.
Yeah, it's drugs, alcohol, definitely both very, very dangerous. And as young teens and older teens and young adults, they need to be able to prepare for that. I mean, they're gonna use it, right? They're gonna probably experiment
Yeah.
with some drugs.
That's what I'm afraid of.
We hope that they would do it older though, like
More
maybe
responsibly.
18, 19, 20, college.
Yeah.
They can smoke some pot or do a little Molly if they want. No,
I'm
should.
really afraid because a lot of the drugs now that I'm seeing a lot of kids are affected are drugs that look like pills. You can't differentiate pills and what's a pill that you can take and what pill is going to kill you.
Well, they say that right now a lot of the pills have fentanyl in
Yep,
it, and
fentanyl.
that's like you take the wrong one of that
That's
and you're
it.
dead.
It kills like 20 cows.
You hear it in the
imagine,
news all the
that's it.
time. That's
So that's what I'm so afraid of. Like one day your kid is just making a bad decision and they thought it was, this friend saying, hey, it's just like a fun pill. And then they take it and not knowing and just, that has fentanyl in it and you die. I mean, that's the kid that you raised to like how old? And then you don't have a kid no more. That's like the worst fear.
That's the worst. I guess that goes back to equipping our kids, talking to them when they're younger, 12, 13, about the influences that they're going to have to deal with, right?
Yeah.
And
Even younger, just
11, 10, 10, 11.
Because they see us popping pills, but they don't know if it's good or bad. And, it's an Advil, a Tylenol, and they're thinking like, oh, I'm in pain or like, I need it or whatever it is, So we definitely have to educate our children.
What's your opinion on teenagers, older teenagers, experimenting with some drugs? What's your opinion on that?
It's so hard because I've never had. I've never experienced drugs.
Oh.
Alcohol, yeah, but not. I don't really need it to have fun, and some people do, right? So I can say I'm pretty lucky. But with drugs, I haven't experienced myself to know, but I've seen people who had experimented and couldn't get out.
Yeah, and that's a risk with that.
That's the risk, and so. My opinion on that, if you like I said, if I haven't experienced it myself, does my opinion really?
Okay.
Well, I don't really have much of an opinion.
My opinion on
Just
that.
don't do it.
Yeah, my opinion on that is, I would equip them with the pros and cons of it all, but I kind of want mine to experiment a little bit during college. Just a little bit. They can get the experience. If it's good or bad or whatever, they got the experience. And God willing that they don't get addicted and then and end up on the streets or something else. But I think it's a rite of passage for some teenagers. And then now you gotten through it. You went your clubbing days, and you don't have a family yet, and you got it out of your system. Now you're 25, 30, about to start a family. You can say, you know what? I've been there and done that. I experienced some of it. I know it was fun at the moment, but the hangovers were bad, or it was just, I don't want to do it no more. So then they got it out of their system instead of some people at 30, 35, they never did it. And then now they're experimenting with kids in the picture and a stable job. Now their life crumbles because they didn't experiment it at that age that they're supposed to. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Yeah.
So see, let me pick your brain a little bit. What made you curious about drugs? Like, I've never had that curiosity, because, everybody's like, it's feel good and it's fun. And I don't know that feeling. And I've never been curious.
It's my
personality. Oh, okay. So it's the bad influence.
Bad
oh, my
influence.
Gosh. See? So it does stem from there. So we got to have our radar on then to help our children out.
Yeah, I remember I smoked weed at 14.
Dang.
Yeah. And my friends were smoking weed at like 13.
So parents out there, you hear? So the curiosity came from bad influences, right? So that's where it stemmed from, huh?
Yeah, but they're housing kids, and I was a housing kid.
Well, housing or not, I feel like even in the Bellevue School District, kids are experimenting with drugs.
Well, weed is legal now. Yeah, weed is legal. Back then it wasn't legal.
They're messing with bigger drugs than just weed now. Weed is like almost the norm.
Yeah.
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 So I'm just thinking like why some kids are curious and why some kids aren't, And so that's where I'm like, hey, I want to know, because I wasn't curious about that at all. But again, they have the saying called "gung bak ti dang, gung dang ti sang." Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a very popular one. So it means that if you're, with bad influence and going towards the dark, that's where you're going to be. But if you're going towards the light, your life will be more lightful, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, heavy stuff. So.
Okay, well,
right.
we're only talking about 2 kids here, and then our parents are having like 10, 6, 12, 15.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, yeah, why did our parents' generation have so many dang kids?
So many.
10,
oh my
12,
gosh.
15.
Yeah, I know why. So, back in the day, when we were farmers, or like even in general, in Vietnam, we bear more children. We have more children because we need them as free labor. The more children you have, the more they can work for you, the more money you can bring into your family. And, it's like a whole family business. And so if you didn't have much, then you don't have much leverage. You don't have many.
Yeah, that's a good reason. And back then, you might get lucky. You might win the lotto by one of them being a doctor.
Super smart.
If you have 10, there's a good chance one of them's going to be a doctor and lift you all out of poverty.
Or something, like the chances just increase.
I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm asking you, as Asian families, it was more, it seemed more lucky when you had more kids as a man or as a family. The more kids you had, the luckier you got. Did you hear anything about that?
No, but definitely
like more
blessed
fortune because you have so many kids. So that means you're
fortunate because we're more labor. More laborers, more people.
Free laborers.
Yeah, free labor. Or all those kids are going to have a career, right? So, I mean, you're building family wealth there with a lot of children, right? If you do it on your own, it won't be as rapid. Just like you build a team in your real estate business, you're building. The more people, more money.
Right, but man, how did they do it? We each have 2 kids, and I feel like I'm maxed out. Like my brain bandwidth of taking care of 2 kids and my wife's 2 kids.
I think
so. How did they have like 10?
During that time, I don't think they really think. You just do, right?
just do.
Yeah, you go day by day, and they say "trời nuôi." So "trời nuôi" means like God will just
God will take care of it.
will take care of it, and everything will be fulfilled.
Well, actually, I think as we're talking, they had kids younger, 16, 18, 19.
Yeah.
We don't have kids these days until 30, 35.
Yeah.
Our generation will be more successful than our parent generation because we will work and get our school out of the way, our careers out of the way, have money saved up for a house, and then have kids at 30, right?
Yeah.
Our parents didn't have to do that. They just, but then back in the days, the wife would stay home a lot.
Yeah.
So these days, wives can't stay home. They gotta.
We need both of that income, man, to buy a house right now. You don't have both those income. Oh my gosh, forget about buying a house unless you're really, really.
So that's too bad though. That's too bad. The mom should stay home if she wants to.
Yeah,
at least part time or something.
But it's like the reason why I didn't stay home is because I wanted to help my husband out. I didn't want him to hustle bustle by himself. I know how hard it is out there. And I just didn't want him to do it by himself when I can help. I just can't sit there and just see my man just like struggle.
Yeah. Well. Okay.
Yeah. Well, anyways.
Well, I'm just got kind of off track thinking about how can someone have 10 kids?
That's
like,
so crazy.
It's crazy.
So crazy. But some can do it. Everybody's made differently. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, what was our last and final question? We gotta wrap this up. There's so many topics.
We growing up didn't have much, right? And we grew up a certain way.
Yeah.
But our kids are gonna have a lot of resources that we didn't have.
Yeah.
And one day when we pass and go on, we're gonna be leaving assets to them. So how can we as parents now and when we're not here anymore, not spoil them? Empower, but not enable. So what do you think?
I'm going to need time to think about this. What do you think? Because I'm like, man.
I feel like have them work for things. You remember Thatcher when he was on?
I was thinking that right there when you
teach them young and early, right, about money and finances. Teach them at a young age to start working, 12, 13, 14. This is how business works, right? It's just a supply and demand. Why don't you and your brother go open a lemonade stand on the corner? I'll let you borrow $10 and then you pay me back and you get to keep all the profit, right?
Teach them.
Right, teach them at a young age.
Teach them how to fish.
Then they see the importance of money because they was out in the sun for like 5 hours in the hot sun and dust, and then they made $30, right? And now they're like, man, I want to go buy like these shoes, but they're not like, nah, I worked all day for that $30. I'm gonna go save it for something more important, right? So maybe teach them a little early of the importance of money.
Yeah, importance of money. Yeah, you're like, what would I do? I don't feel like I spoil my kids with money because obviously they think I'm poor, right? No, that's why.
Right.
But I actually spoil them with love. I think it's the spoiling with love, and when they cry and just like babying them, I think that's where I need to give a little bit more tough love, to make them probably a better human being. You know what I mean? As for just teaching them, like you said, teach them how to fish, because once we're gone and we're not there, and they don't have those skills, they're not going to be okay. And I can't die with my eyes closed knowing that they're not going to be okay, right? I'm not going to tell them that I'm leaving them anything,
Same here.
Yeah, but again, we don't have to tell them everything, but we want to teach them those skills to fish and how to build their own empire. So yeah.
All right, that's good. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, there you go. Well, if you guys enjoyed this episode of parenting, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. We also have other episodes too. You had a chance to take a look. We also have not just a YouTube channel, but also a podcast. If you guys don't have the time and just want to listen to it in the car, a lot of great topics. We pour our hearts and soul out to be able to learn from each other as well as inspire others. Thank you so much, you guys, and we'll see you at the next episode. Bye.